You must be the Hopkins boy.
Where'd you come from?
We've been expecting you. Welcome to Bullworth Academy.
In a world where series are so common, it's hard to imagine a successful game not getting a sequel. But there have actually been many deserving games that have been denied their chance. None of them are quite as tragic as Rockstar Games' Bully, though. This is the story of a groundbreaking game, underhanded business practices, and a lost sequel with hours of polished gameplay. This is the story of the greatest sequel that never was.
I'm Pete Kowalski. Jimmy Hopkins, and don't ask how I'm doing. I've been here 5 minutes and already people want me dead.
But before we take you through this whole sordid affair, make sure you subscribe to Nerdstalgic Gaming and like this video. We love Rockstar Games for a lot of reasons. Their stories, their innovation, their sprawling worlds, but maybe the biggest reason to love Rockstar is how willing they are to let players act on their worst impulses. Back in 2006, 4 years before the first Red Dead Redemption game would release, the bar for open-world games had been set by Rockstar themselves. The Grand Theft Auto developers had always struck a delicate balance between being proprietors of sheer chaos and maintaining a realistic and punishing universe. After the release of critical darling San Andreas, fans were waiting impatiently to see what Rockstar would come up with next. And what they delivered was perhaps the best example of the Rockstar Games formula we've ever seen. 2006's Bully is set at an elite boarding school called Bullworth Academy. Players take control of the titular bully, a troubled teen named Jimmy with a lot of anger issues.
Hey, you're the new kid.
Yeah? What's it to you?
Friendly, aren't you?
Give me a break, loser.
And a slingshot. You can complete school classes in the form of minigames, follow along with actual story missions and side quests, or just go out into the world and cause the kind of chaos that only a delinquent 15-year-old can. But just like other Rockstar titles, the game is more than just what's on the surface. Completing school minigames unlocks new in-game items and abilities. From chemistry, for example, Jimmy can learn how to make stink bombs and itching powder to use on unsuspecting targets. Progressing through the story will affect Jimmy's status with various clicks. You'll also find that progressing through the story progresses time. Jimmy gets to experience various holidays and seasons at Bullworth Academy and do seasonally appropriate activities like antagonizing people with snowballs or destroying people's lovely carved jack-o'-lanterns. Jimmy himself is a great and complex character, not unlike our favorites from other Rockstar series, but you'll find that all the characters have personality. The dialogue really grounds the world in reality, and it's probably the funniest Rockstar game to date.
What's your problem?
Well, ADD primarily, but also life, my parents, this school, Western civilization, but really, honestly, enough about me. Oh, I see you've met the dorm's mascot.
According to a Polygon article, Rockstar co-founder and lead writer Dan Houser knew what Rockstar was getting into when they made a game called Bully, where you are the bully. The game was a response to how we categorize people. It was a nuanced take on the act of bullying and why people resort to it in the first place. By no means was it perfect, but it was a solid message. And while it wasn't a smash success, Bully still made Rockstar a nice chunk of change and swiped a few year-end awards. Like all Rockstar games, it garnered its fair share of backlash, but that never stopped the studio before. So fans of Bully could safely assume that Bully would get a sequel, especially after the first game got a remaster in 2008. This was Rockstar after all, a company known for continuing franchises. Hell, in 2008, they were on their 4th Grand Theft Auto game. But curiously, as the years passed, a Bully sequel was looking less likely. There was no information on it other than some unsubstantiated rumors. By May of 2010, when Red Dead Redemption released and took the industry by storm, players swiftly abandoned their requests for a Bully sequel. Both Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto would go on to continue their franchises to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, but Bully was left to rot, dismissed, expelled.
You are leaving the academy to attend to your education elsewhere. Now get out!
And nobody really knew why. That is, until recently when developers dropped a stink bomb and let fans know that there was actually going to be a Bully sequel. And not only had it been planned, but it was playable. According to Game Informer, who spoke with some former Rockstar devs, there were between 6 and 8 hours of fully realized gameplay for Bully 2, and it probably is never going to see the light of day. So, why? Well, the short answer is terrible decision-making by gaming industry executives.
No, I'm not okay.
But the long answer is a little more complicated and involves a lot of mistreatment of game devs. To fully understand the seedy behind-the-scenes behavior of Rockstar and their parent company, Take-Two Interactive, we've got to go back to 2008, 2 years after Bully's initial release. Rockstar was buying up smaller development studios and absorbing them. One of those companies was Mad Doc Software, which Rockstar would later rename Rockstar New England. Before becoming Rockstar New England, Mad Doc had worked on its own games and ended up pretty strapped for cash after a string of financial disappointments. At the time, employees at the newly minted Rockstar New England were still excited about their new bosses. A lot of Rockstar New England employees were just happy to have the chance to assist on Rockstar IPs, and they were eventually given their own big project, Bully 2. With the rest of the company focused on the then unreleased Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne 3, Bully 2 was entirely Rockstar New England's baby. But they were up for the challenge, having not only made their own games before, but also worked with the Bully IP for the remaster. Rockstar New England specialized in making advancements in AI, so there was a huge focus on character development and beefing up the systems the first game had in place, like the factions respect system and how your in-game actions affected how NPCs treated your character. The map would have been 3 times the size of the original games. Every building and room you saw was supposedly available for exploration. Among a ton of other features, there was even a system for grass growth that could be realistically cut with a lawnmower. Keep in mind that the development for Bully 2 started in 2008. Even now, some of these details are impressive. If Bully 2 had been released, it's likely it would have been another gem in Rockstar's crown. But as we know, it never came to be, and the reason for that is sadly common.
Nice trophy. Here, let me see. Come on, hey, give me that back!
First of all, Rockstar New England's team was getting smaller. Devs were being pulled off the Bully 2 team in favor of Red Dead and Max Payne, so while the team's numbers got smaller, they were still expected to produce the same amount of work. It didn't help that, according to devs, it felt like the studio was expected to prove to Rockstar that they had been worth investing in, which applied a ton of pressure to the shrinking team. One dev from the New England studio said, "There were some late nights for sure, staying until midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. We were hustling to prove ourselves because I think just about anybody working on Bully 2 just absolutely loved it." The honeymoon phase between Rockstar and its new studio was officially over, and an old enemy of the Rockstar Games company culture started to rear its head. When Rockstar New England employees asked former Vice President Geronimo Barrera about what their hours would look like under new management, he responded with, "Well, we don't work every weekend. For example, I'm not working this Saturday." It was the emphasis on words like every and this that should have been an immediate red flag, but Rockstar New England pressed on, and their morale would suffer for it. So much so that a few longtime employees quit their jobs, which only made the situation at the studio that much more dire. Bully 2's development struggled on into the summer of 2009, and then, in June, the biggest blow to the New England studio hit it square in the gut. About 10% of the entire team was laid off and given no reason for their termination. Only 1 year after Rockstar had acquired them, the New England studio was decimated. The dev team became a shell of its former self. The remaining employees were shuffled onto other projects, and Bully 2 was officially shelved. Red Dead Redemption would release the following year to absolutely massive sales and critical acclaim, paving the way for Rockstar to sink hundreds of millions of dollars into its next games and give its executives raises and bonuses. But they apparently couldn't spare any of that money for those affected by the seemingly random layoffs. All of this makes the story of Bully 2 pretty tragic. Not only did fans unknowingly have a truly great sequel ripped out from under them before they even knew it, but the people making it suffered at the hands of the company they worked for. And those 6 to 8 hours of finished gameplay are probably just on a hard drive somewhere collecting dust. If we can take anything positive from this, it's that the extremely talented Bully 2 developers definitely had a hand in making other Rockstar properties as good as they are. The AI tech that the Bully 2 team developed certainly sounds like it made it into Red Dead Redemption and its sequel. And there's no telling what else was reused and recycled. We can only hope that those who quit and were laid off ended up somewhere that appreciated their talent and passion, and that Rockstar Games keeps making amazing games and better decisions. That's all we have got for you today. Thanks so much for watching this video all the way to the end. Be sure to let us know, what game do you want to see a sequel for? Leave your answer in the comments and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel while you're at it.